Hello and welcome to Aha Moments. This one is entitled Emotional Equilibrium and was originally released on December 4th of 2023. So if you received this in your inbox, congratulations. I hope that you love these aha moments, and thanks for joining us on the video to have just a little more of a discussion about what was written. If you are not in the list and you just happen to find this aha on YouTube, then welcome. So great that you are here. And if you want to get these aha moments delivered to your inbox, go on ahumanapproach.com and register. And every Monday morning at 8 a.m., you will get one of these insightful little nuggets to start your week off. So these aha moments, I've been writing them for probably about eight or so years now. And they are experiences and learnings and investigations and episodes that I myself am encountering, in some cases from what I'm reading, who I'm talking to, what I'm just experiencing in my life, and observations. And I write about them. And the reason that I write about them is to just not to take them as face value. So not to say, okay, here's the experience and, walk away. But what is that shift? What is that aha that happened? Because sometimes those ahas are just like little teeny glimmers or, inklings that happen. And other times they are big, profound, slap across the face kind of truths that that really shake your life. So, and they're all good. I believe that we learn one aha moment at a time. So let's embrace them all, shall we? Okay, what I'm going to do then, I'm going to read the aha that was released on December 4th, and then I'm going to share a little bit of a story as to how it came to be and how I failed, that day, only that day. And not to say that I may not fail again, but let's talk about what that little failure was in Stoicism. Okay, here we go. Emotional equilibrium. So why would you want to fortify yourself in the name of Stoicism? Stoicism is the doctrines or philosophy of the Stoics, says my dictionary, and is the indifference between pain and pleasure. But since we naturally want to move from pain to pleasure, does it not behoove us to feel the difference and know where to put our deliberate intention? Well, yes and no. Abraham Hicks, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Jussi Erkinen, and many others remind me regularly that focus on feeling good is what sets us up to be in the flow of abundance. They all say that when you're too much in your head, not enough in your heart, thinking versus feeling, and not paying attention to what feels good because you're hammering away at that task list, it's easy to get out of alignment. That's when you create not just blocks, but boulders on your success path. It feels wonderful to be well rested, doing work that brings you joy, connect with nature, feel validated and appreciated. And during those times, everything just seems to go really well. But we don't accomplish anything on our own. So how easy is it to be blissfully intentional when encountering the emotions of others that may challenge paradise? Can we carry that tranquility in a way that will make us impervious to slights, letdowns, bad press, disrespect, criticism, and even insults? What does it take to have the self-mastery to liberate ourselves from potential energy zapping swipes? Aha! Know thyself. Maintaining emotional equilibrium can be yours by asking a few categorized questions. Compassion. Are you allowing a negative comment to take you down a notch when it may have more to do with that individual's day than the exchange you're having at the moment? Understanding. Is the disrespect coming from someone who may feel disrespected themselves or has a lack of knowledge of the bigger picture? Source. Are you one of the many victims of bad press by someone who feels powerful in cutting others? While disrespect should never be tolerated, when you know yourself, are guided by wisdom, and grounded in virtues, you can find serenity in Stoicism. Then, when a blow happens, simply taking a pause to reflect and regroup, then decide to respond or not, you will quickly return to focusing on the actionable present in manifestation land. And here's a quote from Seneca to end it off. Difficulty strengthen the mind as labor does the body. So I figured that I failed Stoicism 101 the other day. And because my Well, my adult knew better. My adult knew to take a pause and take a breath and understand not just what was coming down the pipe, but from me. I responded a little more childlike, and I was very candid in my conversation and by text message. Now, interesting, it hit me. This just happened a few days ago. It hit me last night. I remember my horoscope, them saying that around the time of the full moon, that you had to be very careful with your correspondence because there was a good chance for misunderstandings. And that just hit me last night. It's like, I didn't listen to that warning. I was very candid in a response to somebody, thinking that they were sort of on the same lines and they would understand where I was coming from. And instead, they came back and completely slammed the door and pulled some business that we were doing together on the spot. And I have to admit, I was surprised. They were very surprised at my comment. Unfortunately, kind of took it out of context. Not kind of, but, did, not intentionally, I'm sure, but probably by text message, probably because I was being more emotional than I should have, and just kind of going, here's what I'm feeling about this. And that just probably wasn't called for. And so, I think that having it happen the other way, and I have a particular provider of mine that I find is talented, but very childish, deflects responsibility, oftentimes will not accept blame and will make sure that everybody else is blamed for something. There's no way that it could be possibly anything be her fault. And she can be very quick with those negative comments. And I have to admit that there isn't anybody who can put me in a bad mood faster than she can. Just knowing that we have to get together to do some dealings just already gets me tense. So I have to rise into that place and go, okay, I want to feel good about what I'm doing. I want to go with the flow, in a sense that I know the difference of what I described earlier, that joyful feeling of, doing work that you love and working with people that you enjoy. And all, when you're in that flow and you're feeling good about yourself, you're, like I said, well rested, but also, when you're eating well and you just, I don't know, you feel good in the clothes that you put on. It was a good hair day, whatever it happens to be, but somehow you're in the flow and it just feels good. And you just feel like you're on purpose, and then somebody can come by and just come up with a comment or something disrespectful or some bad press or something can happen that can really catch you off guard and go, wow, where did that come from, and can stop you in your tracks. So the question is, what do you do at that point, right? What do you do? So there's lots of I think that lots of ways to, I was going to say react or respond, but let's decide that you can react or respond. And then of course within either of those categories, there's lots of different ways that you can do it. So I think the adult way, the kind way, the wise way is to take that step back and pause. And it's not just that deep breath before you react that they say, you don't want to say something that you regret. It really is about the compassion and the understanding about, did that comment come from someone who really understood that bigger picture? Is there a lack of knowledge here? Does that person have the compassion? Do they have the education to even make the comment that they did? Where in their right are they to make that comment? Maybe they feel disrespected. Maybe they're having a bad day. To take that moment and understand the source, where's it coming from? How did it start? And then to decide, is it worth my time and energy to spend on this at all? Sometimes it is. Sometimes if it hits you for a reason, then it hits a chord of some kind. It doesn't necessarily mean that you own the criticism. It may be a learning experience in yourself of just simply this, of being able to get over those comments and go, why am I still absorbing that? Why does that still have an effect on me, when that is purely their opinion, and their opinion of me is none of my business? So we know that intellectually, but being able to just kind of deflect those and live in stoicism, in other words, that you are impervious to to the good or the bad. You're going in your flow. And when you're going in your flow, it's because you are rooted in values. You do have virtues. You are, a good person, and your intentions are noble. So, and you're on purpose. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to rock some boats along the way, right? Or that there aren't going to be those hurdles that come up that you have to jump over. But I think being in that flow is that path of least resistance, right? You're moving intentionally towards, I always say succeed deliberately. I think intentionally and deliberately, you need to do your actions, including how you take care of yourself and how you honor yourself. So, you know, I was watching a wonderful video on the subject and I did take some notes. So some of what I'm talking about here was certainly from that. And one of their pieces of advice was, you know, just spend less time with those people. I mean, sometimes those people, sometimes they're not bad people, but they're going through a tough time themselves, or for whatever reason, they may be jealous or they don't understand what you're doing. Learn from it what you can. But if you find that they are toxic, then, you know, then just spend less time or giving less credence to that source, put it that way. So I know a few years ago when, you know, when when the pandemic started and it became, to me and some others like me, very obvious as to what was going on. Was not obvious and is still not obvious to a lot of people who take offense to even the thought that it may be a plandemic. But, you know, that they still buy into all the protocol and mind all of the, you know, everything that's imposed upon them to fit into society. But I remember there were, you know, many doctors and psychologists and clinicians and just, you know, whistleblowers who were coming out into the public and going, wait a second, you know, what you're hearing on mainstream is not what's really going on. And those people were ridiculed, they were silenced, and still to this day, much of that is still happening. But it was really difficult at the time. And I myself, with these people, you know, standing in the face of truth and hoping that people would see that, knowing that our intentions were good and noble of what we wanted to bring to the table, many people turned on us, turned on the messengers, and made every effort to discredit us, to remove us from society. You know, and I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I said, between asked to leave a business group, my Chamber of Commerce said, well, you know, I said to them, like, who's paying your salary? Like, it's members, and you're not working for the members, you're working for the government. Like, what goes on? And they said, well, you're welcome to leave. And that was pretty much everybody's comments. And I had friends that, you know, because I didn't play along, I mean, they didn't want to get together, didn't want to sit with me, didn't want to share a golf cart with me, they didn't want to be anywhere near me because I didn't, you know, take the protocol. So a lot of the people, including myself, were, you know, were ostracized, were criticized, and you know, while it bothered me that that was society's response to it, or maybe a reaction, I understood the mind control that contributed to it, and I understood very much how people got to that point and why they were so defensive of that. But at the same time, it still bites. It still bites. And so having to take that step back and have that compassion and that understanding, go, okay, well, they don't have the knowledge that I do. They, you know, they're still watching the TV, which means that they're under the mind control. They haven't been able to break free from that. And, you know, all the other conditioning and all the other things, you know, in many cases, people had businesses or jobs that, you know, that absolutely said, if you don't follow this protocol, then you're not going to be able to come to work. And people were between a rock and a hard place. Do I stand for what is right and do what I know is my own decision, which is to say no, or to whatever, you know, do something different? Or do I get to keep my job? You know, so I mean, a lot of people were put in that position. My business was impacted hugely during that time, and continues to be, because there are still some restrictions, and we've just lost ground. You know, we've had to do things differently. So, and a lot of people, they just kept going because they just followed along, right? So I think that, you know, as I said, standing in your virtues and your values, having self-respect, knowing who you are. And when you can kind of check in with yourself and go, you know what, here's, like, you know, that one issue that I did have with my friend, where business friend, that I did kind of played a little more candor than I probably should have. In hindsight, I thought we're on the same page, I can get away with it, but obviously not. So, I mean, I went back and apologized. Of course I did, you know, so, and said, look, not one of my proud moments that I should have caught myself and just, you know, and been the provider that you wanted me to. But I did get emotional about some of the comments that were being sent my way. And I don't know that they understood that they were offensive, but, you know, I did did send that note in a sense of here's my take on it. Here's, how I felt, and here's why I responded the way that I did. And, if you can understand and forgive that, wonderful, we'll carry on. If not, then, well, I apologize that it happened. That happens, right? And then we carry on. That's all we can do, right? And we learn from it. And so sometimes, I find myself doing that. The little child every once in a while says, no, wait, that's not right. wants to be appreciated and valued. But at the end of the day, as long as you value and respect yourself, and that you are, you're moving in a direction where you are guided through wisdom, and that you're solid in what you offer, and that you care about humanity. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. So, and then, you just don't worry about the rest of the stuff so much, right? Handle yourself the best you can. And as they always say, when you know better, you do better. So, all of this is, again, the quote from Seneca about, that all of these, these challenges of the mind are like, the physical challenges of your body. They're meant to make you stronger. So let's learn from them. And, rather than deflecting the blame, let's just look at what we did and said, is there a way that we could have handled it differently with a little more compassion and understanding? If so, great. Next time that we're going to catch ourselves, we're going to do a little better, right? So that's our learning for today. I hope that made sense to you. And I would love to hear how that resonated, and, what your perception of Stoicism is, what it means to you, and how easy or difficult it's been for you to accept it and work with it. So thank you for that. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. And let me know if there's another place that you want me to post these ahas. I'm thinking Substack. What are you thinking? And if you get a chance to hop on Amazon or on our website and order your copy of 50 Simple Ways to Release the Shackles of Self-Sabotage, which is now out and hit bestseller in all 3 categories overnight. Yes. So let's take matters into our own hands and become responsible, free, and as always, succeed deliberately. Bye-bye.